Welcome back to Gold Seek TV. I'm here in Vancouver at the VRIC conference talking about triple-digit silver and opportunities in the silver sector. I'm here with the president and CEO, Jim McDonald of Kootenay Silver. Jim, great to have you back on.
It was great to be here.
It's nice to be talking with you with very favorable silver prices. Kootenay, you're sitting on hundreds of millions of ounces of silver resources. What a difference a year can make in the sector. What are you seeing on your end? Are you seeing new interest and new investors, and are you seeing starting to see actually some real serious investors come into our space now with these prices?
Yeah, you're seeing as you can imagine, a tremendous amount of interest. Suddenly, the acceleration of silver price through its old highs to doubling its old highs. Nobody's ever seen anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
We've been calling for a move like this for a long, long time now. And we were also aware that when it accelerated, it would be fast, but we didn't expect that fast. So, yeah, that attracts a lot of attention in the sector for sure. There's a lot more money available than there has been over the last many years. We've been financing that Columba project, that new discovery we have over the last 5 years. And it was pretty tough going back 4 or 5 years ago, getting money together just to do a bit of drilling and pay for the project. Thankfully, we did that. Now there's a lot of attention to the sector, a lot of new money coming in, and even the resource funds are reinvesting. Of course, they've done very well because they stuck with it through the low time. So yeah, it's a mightily changed metal environment.
So for a company like Kootenay, and I know you for many years, and you built this company to have leverage to silver price. You created an opportunity for investors to be leveraged to the silver price. Let's talk about the company first on kind of the bigger scale. How many ounces does the company have now? And we can talk more about the Columba project and what you're doing there, as well as what do you do at these silver prices? Because I can imagine a lot of uneconomical, lower grade silver now becomes quite economical. And how does that change your very large silver resource base even more? So first, let's, I guess, talk about, the size of the current resource, the 3 or 4 different projects.
Yeah, 4. We got 4 deposits now. The most recent one was Columba. We put out a resource statement on it mid last year, 54 million ounces, wide open expansion. We're drilling over 50,000 more meters there to look to double the size of that. But behind that were 3 other projects that were kind of shelved because they were sub-economic. The reason we were going after Columba so strongly is because the grades we're seeing there and the widths of the veins are such that the potential for margins are really great. It's a kind of discovery that could work at $20 silver, never mind $100. The other 3 projects needed something north of $30 or $35 silver. Now we're well past that. So now it's time to start examining them. All 4 of these projects totaled something like 212 million ounces of silver equivalent in the measured indicated, and then another over 100 million in the inferred. So altogether is well over 300 million ounces sitting there and growing with the work at Columba. But now that silver price has moved, these 3 projects that were shelved, we need to start working on them. And a few weeks ago, we announced that we're doing a preliminary economic assessment on the first of those 3 called La Ciguera.
Okay.
And it's going to accomplish a couple of things for us. It's going to start drawing attention to the investors that, hey, we've got a whole bunch of other ounces here that we're not being valued for.
Mm-hmm.
And if we get the kind of PEA result that we expect, showing really positive economics, then we're also going to be showing, hey, these ounces are economic. This particular deposit needs to go to feasibility now. And then that starts to re-rate all your ounces. So now we're moving into more of an explorer discoverer into a developer.
Okay.
And once you do that, you're going to get a re-rating in the market, and all your ounces are going to be more meaningful and more fully valued.
Well, you have just under 100 million shares outstanding.
Yeah.
And you're sitting on per share 3 plus 4 ounces per share equivalent.
Yes.
So you're trading well under $1 an ounce per share. So the value, even at these silver prices, the stock doesn't seem to be reflecting the current metal price, and that's not just for Kootenay. I mean, the whole, especially the junior side, is just incredible from a risk reward opportunity. It's quite incredible, I think, at this point. So one way to improve this is by advancing these projects into the next state. What do you see, I guess, as the biggest opportunity to add values is by doing this, or by drilling, adding more ounces?
Well, we're doing both. Now we're doing both at the same time because now we're moving 2 projects ahead. So we're adding ounces at Columba with this big drill program. And then with La Ciguera, we don't need to do any more drilling work. We have enough work there for a PEA. So we've moved right into that. We expect that result sometime in Q2.
Okay.
And then we'll look at that result. If it's what we expect it to be, then we need to make a decision. All right, you're taking this to pre-feasibility or feasibility. And there's tremendous growth upside on La Ciguera as well. And now that you've got a higher silver price and those ounces are starting to matter, well, we're going to have to consider doing some expansion work there. But first, the PEA, let's see what it says.
Okay.
When we can assess, well, if we add 20% more ounces, it's going to be that much better. Well, maybe that's a smart thing to do. We make that decision at that point. But moving in towards the economic study to show that we have economic ounces is going to be really important to start to value everything. Suddenly we're becoming this company that, hey, if we get a positive PA here, here's a project needs to be taken to production. And then here's this pipeline of properties behind it.
Well, Columba is really giving off some incredible results. You said you had your maiden resource out with 54 million ounces of silver. You're undergoing a 50,000 meter drilling campaign. So how far along are you into that?
We're about 14,000 meters into it.
And I've noticed some results have been coming out. There's been delays at getting assays and results out. There must be a lot of backlog at the assay lab, but that's a good
suddenly
thing.
They have a lot more work than they did last 4 years.
Finally, the exploration sector's, it's getting going. So what would be, I guess, the goal? You had mentioned doubling the ounces off of this 50,000 meter drilling program.
That's the goal. And then look at a PEA for that project at some point.
So I kind of, having followed this in the past, I know that the D vein has been just absolutely fantastic. It keeps on going. So how is the current drilling defining the D vein? And I believe there was another C vein, the other veins that there were some also interesting.
Yeah, we've got multiple veins there. Not all of them have been drilled even. We've got numerous veins without any drilling. But when we put the maiden resource out, all of the resource bodies are open to expansion. We haven't found the limits of any of them. So the bulk of this program is going into just stepping out beyond those limits and finding where the edges and the limits are. Then we'll start to move on to these other veins that are a little lower priority, either because they don't have as much drilling or no drilling at all. So we were talking about the D veins. 60% of the ounces are there currently, and it's wide open in all directions. So we're just grid drilling that till we find the edges. Then we have what we call the F vein, which is a vein that was historically mined twice in the past. And the extension of that trend, which is called the B or Lupe veins. There's a couple different veins there. So those 3 areas are where the bulk of the drilling of this 50,000 meters are going to go.
So you raised money in the fall, had some big interest, and I noticed recently, last week or so, you're raising some more money. That's going to accelerate some of the drill programs, like you mentioned with the PAs and focusing on other projects. The allocation of resources is that kind of the priority then for 2026? Is to do, I guess, both drilling and work on these other projects?
So we'd like to exit 2026 with a positive PEA, maybe moving it into pre-fees or fees, and then be having a resource update on Columba and hopefully hitting our next target of 100 million ounces there. That's the primary objective here.
Is there any interest to go look around at other companies or projects, or you're so
We've got
overall.
4 deposits to
You
work
don't
on.
need any more work right now. Yeah, it's a lot of going on, and having followed and been an investor in Kootenay for many years, I've and I can appreciate how difficult it's been to get to this point. But now it's kind of go time. It's really
Yeah.
it's the fun time to be exploring, and you've already done so much of the hard work. So it's really just kind of doing following, I guess, the steps here to continue on this path that you've been so successful on drilling it out and adding the ounces. But obviously, with these higher silver prices, that also can open up some of these other deposits and some of the lower grade material coming into place. So be interested to see how this all comes together this year.
Yeah.
But even at the current resources that you have, boy, it seems like your stock price still has some good upside opportunity left at these levels.
Yeah, we're nowhere near valued where we should be, in our opinion. We don't think we're getting any value for the other 3 deposits. We're basically just being valued for Columba. So doing the PEA on the first of those other 3 is going to show value, and then we'll start to see that value reflected in the market at some point.
Okay, Jim. Well, thank you for the update and the insights.
Yeah,
Looking
Peter.
forward to see how the next quarters and the year transpires. Obviously,
Yeah.
a lot of activity happening, and it's great to see that the funding and the investments coming to the sector, so you can do more work now finally. And really, yeah, I mean, you've done so much hard work during the difficult times, so now time to really reap those rewards. So looking forward to that as an investor. And
Yeah.
so,
Thank you, Peter. Appreciate that.
thank you. Thank you.